Okay, so this is the first video for the GTA Game Jam. I do not know what GTA stands for, but I don't think it's Grand Theft Auto. I'm pretty sure it's not. The Game Jam had nothing to do with it. And I'm just dubbing over because I forgot to turn the microphone on. This is the Game Jam, GTA Mega Jam. Power is a problem, power is strength. It's, isn't strength, it's responsibility. Ryu pulling the door off the refrigerator. You break it, you bought it. And yeah, so just going over some things. It took me a minute to think about what I was gonna do, but it's a 48-hour game jam, so I didn't want to come up with something too complicated. Anyways, that's Manny, the mannequin. Um, don't know. I'm probably explaining something. I don't know. I have like 7 of these just for gameplay. A few for aesthetics because I had a little time left. Um, anyways, we used the side scroller because the logic was already there for the for the AI. You're not gonna be side scrolling, but the AIs are the good guy. Well, the villagers and the monsters. So you can see in the viewport, I turned the camera around, not on the side, but in the front. Added a spring arm. Um, that's so it's facing forward because your character is going to be looking forward, and the camera's going to be looking at you, and the villagers and the monsters are going to be chasing after you. So, going in here, took the camera off because it was keeping it locked into a side scroller, and we don't want that. Yeah, this is the level we took some of the blocks out. We're basically going to have them running on this flat area, and there we have them. Standing right there, that's who you're gonna be. That's gonna be your position. You're not gonna move at all. Can't go left, can't go right, can't jump up. And you're gonna have the AIs running across. So yeah, that's the plan. Of course. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Just got a call. Yeah, I'm just trying to put some words to this. Here we have a character I had made for me a while ago. Um, we put it in mix mode, give it a skeleton. Some dude I met. He does 3D 3D models, and he's supposed to be a tree guardian. Take with that what you will. Honestly, I really like the game. I'll be having the other videos, the tutorials coming out. They're pretty long. They're like mostly, I think one's like 20 minutes, but most of them are like 45 minutes to an hour. So yeah, they're kind of long. But it was a 48-hour game jam that I did in about 24 hours. Concepts all there. Right now, I'm looking for a way to make his arms go up and down. I think what I'm gonna do is leave his body as and you'll see a little bit later. I'm gonna leave his body standing still or doing some kind of idle motion, and his arms are just gonna lift up and down. Basically, the concept of the game is he's lifting up a giant boulder, and he's lifting it up to let the villagers go by, but then he's dropping it on the monsters. I knew I wasn't gonna find any animations that were like that, so I just got a decent idle one. I actually might keep it. It looks like maybe he's using like his mind to lift the boulder or whatever. Still working it out. It's pretty nice. That's why I love game jams. They give you ideas. They're free ideas. You don't you don't have to pay for them or anything like that. You don't have to really brainstorm. You just have to get creative with what they give you. Also, you meet people and get to test your skills. I really like what I came up with, and it's called A Rock and a Hard Place. You'll see soon. Yeah. I don't know why the animation is not showing up, but whatever. Let's see what we got. Yeah. So that's one good thing about this dubbing. I can actually skip over things that are like just taking too long, like me naming folders and stuff like that. Is me importing the skeletal mesh for the tree monster or the tree guardian. He's not a monster, he's actually the good guy. So we'll let that go on. And I don't know what happened here. It gave me the skin, but it's messed up. It's not really that serious though. Can always go back and fix it. Right here, it looks like nothing's there. That's because for some reason it came out like on an extremely small scale. Don't know what that's about. But okay, we will work with it. It's not really a problem. We're just gonna put it in. Yeah, me testing it out. It's there. It's just teeny tiny. Yep, you can see it. Yep, yep. Very, very small. So what we need to do is basically just increase the scale by 100. Not that big a deal. Yeah, it's just really, really small. And that's the animation we got for it. You'll see it when it gets bigger. I don't know. These things are a lot longer because I feel like a lot of it's kind of. I'm gonna have to work on that. Anyways, so that's our player character. We are gonna swap them out for our tree character. It's just always easier to use the arrow and try to remember all those names. hmm Now we got our character in there. Once again, he is so small. Just gonna pipe him up right there. Still too small. 150, 175. Yes, I can tell it's taking long because I'm explaining. But there we go. We have our character. The shading and the all that stuff didn't come out so well, but we're not gonna worry about that. So we can delete that. Now we have our character. Instead of Manny, we got the tree guardian. Next. Now to make him bigger, make the whole actor 7 times bigger. Give us our animation blueprint. Well, actually, no, we didn't use a blueprint because your character's not moving, so I just used that asset of him standing there. Up. And it's not going to work because animation mode's on blueprint, so we're going to switch that to just an asset, which would be that. So there we have our character. And I might leave it like that. It doesn't look bad. But yep, so there we go. Got our character. He sits right there. The camera's always on him and he can't move, so the camera doesn't move. And this is just basically making a material. I'm gonna skip ahead because I mean, making materials is pretty easy. You just take your textures, plug them in where they're supposed to go. If you don't know where they're supposed to go, it's easy. I mean, you can Google it. Color one, base color. Normal map's always blue. That gives it its appearance to have depth. This is obviously the color. Booyah. Now it didn't turn out right, but it looks better. Then roughness, metallic. Metallic makes it more metallic and shiny. Roughness makes it, look like rubber versus, yeah, you get it. Uh, that should be the roughness, yeah. You definitely need that one. There we go. So we're gonna throw that on there, and that's how it came out, which does not look good. Do not know why it turned out like that, but we'll re we'll worry about that later. I'm just glad that I submitted in time. This is my third game jam I participated in, but the first one I submitted. The first one I tried to do, I didn't realize the game had to be less than a gig, so when I tried to upload it, it was like 2, 3 hours before submission deadline, and I couldn't bring it down low enough. Um, what happened the second time? I don't know what happened the second time. I don't know why. Mm. Oh, I think it was setting up the itch.io. Um, Setting up itch.io. I just didn't have it set up. I had never done it before. See, it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad for now. We'll come back to that later. I'm just glad to be have this submitted. So we have our character. He's sitting out there, and I think right here I'm just getting some assets. Yeah, a boulder. Yeah, all this stuff. Getting things to make it all work. And I put the boulder on this actor, so it kind of stayed still. Yeah, static mesh. We're gonna get that boulder from Fab. There we go. It's way too big. That's why it looks like that. You can drop that down to a reasonable scale. Like one, still not reasonable. I don't know why it's so huge. It's for the atmosphere. It's not supposed to be like for like props or gameplay. It's probably why it's humongous. But it works pretty good. I liked it because it's not like a pure circle, which means when it hits the ground, it kind of flops around and it looks really good. It looks really good. Uh, we'll see. I don't know if in this video we get that far, but yeah. So yeah, now that's better. Is that a 500th, a 5,000th, something like that? Yeah. So that's our boulder. We're gonna be crushing things with that. Um, Now we got to get it to move up and down. It's the U button we're using to move it up and down. Um, I'm just trying to position it here so it's good with the ground. But that's not really necessary because when you put physics to it, it's going to fall and hit the ground. But I don't want it to like just fall and flop around and all that stuff. So I think I set it a little bit to rotate a little bit more. So it's not so off center with the ground. Let's see. Just going through some highlights. All this stuff is kind of, you know, you know how that goes. Simple things. We got a rock looking good. Test it out. Yeah, you know what I'm doing. Talking about something. So we have our monster and our villager. And we just made copies of the side scroller. Gonna take some things off that they don't need. They definitely don't need cameras or spring arms. So I'm gonna delete that. Just pointless components. Don't want the camera manager to lose its lose its top. Yeah, delete that. Delete that. All right. I'm using the print screen to record, so it's in the way. So now we're going to test out the villager, and oh, it's still got that thing. It's still done. Hmm, it's cool watching this. All right, let's keep going. I guess basically I was explaining that they're just trying to get to the other side, and you lose points if it's a villager. You gain points if it's a monster. I think it's 10 points you lose for a villager, 5 points you gain for a monster. 3 points if a villager makes it to the other side without getting eaten, and 1 point they you gain 3 points if they make it to the other side, and you lose a point um, if they get eaten. Now that right there, what I just did, that was the movement, and we don't want our character to move just yet. Maybe when I go back and work on this game, I might have it so he can slide to the left and slide to the right, so you have a bigger. Yeah, that's me looking at pizza. Huh. Okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking later, maybe on, he'll be able to slide left and right, so we'll have a larger gameplay area and maybe different boulders and all kinds of stuff. You know, guess the sky's the limit. Yeah, it's one key that I can't ever find. Um, quick tip: if you're gonna package a game, don't you make sure you change out the debug key, because I have like 3 different packages and it never worked, and then I had to realize that I was using a debug key to lift the rock. So that's what we're using now. Works for, in the editor, but if you package your game, it's not gonna work. Okay. Now, if you're gonna add an impulse, if we ever get to it, we're gonna add an impulse, and for an impulse to work, you have to have physics. I don't understand what is taking so long. Yeah, see, simulate physics. The impulse will never work. It's probably, yeah. So let's go back at this. So basically, we're adding impulse, a very high impulse, just to test it out, turning simulate physics on. But this impulse, a positive in the Z makes it go up, negative makes it go down, positive in X makes it go forward. There we go. See it rolling. X in the negative makes it go backwards. Y in the positive makes it go right. Y, and the negative makes it go left. But we don't really have to worry about that for the boulder, because the boulder, we only want to control it going up and down. So we're going to add this impulse every time we hit the U key. And extreme values to see if it works. Yeah, and there it goes. Gravity's looking good too. But want to do a little bit more with it. There we go. Hit the U button. Gets that impulse upward. It flops around because of the unevenness of the rock. I love that part. That actually makes it more strategic. You can actually have the boulder fall it just like that. It can roll around the screen. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Um, so one thing we do need to do, which I guess I just noticed, is that with the boulder and the physics, the boulder has no way of not falling off the that that little strip. So what we need to do is add some blocking volumes because eventually it's gonna fall off. Yeah, it's even possible for them to get around it, which wasn't intended, but hey. So now we're in the BP Villager. We're back in ours. I believe here we're gonna add an impulse downward. See, I don't want the rock to be floaty. I want it to be like he's lifting it rather than it's just like being Professor X'd up, like he's using his mind. I want it to feel heavy. Eventually, I want it to be where he's actually moving it with his hands, so he's lifting it up. So we're gonna add an impulse that is always happening. It's pushing downward. Gravity's enabled. It has to be. Move that to one. Believe I tested out. Doesn't really do much. Yeah, the gravity didn't really change anything, so maybe it did. It did look like it did. Another extreme value. Yeah, so it's too floaty for me. So basically, I decided to add. Yeah, just keep playing with that. It's kind of. Yeah. So the gravity wasn't really giving it the effect I wanted. So what I did is on the event begin play, I started a timer and I basically just have an impulse that's going every tenth of a second. And it's just constantly pushing down on the rock. Real simple, nice, easy way to mimic gravity. And it's very much like it because the higher the rock goes, the more it's falling, the faster it falls. Which is, you know, meters per second, like gravity. So we have our timer. We loop it, apply gravity. And basically, we're just going to do the exact same thing except opposite and not have it as strong as our impulse. If it's as strong as the impulse, then it will null each other out. And actually, this downward impulse would probably win because you can't. Maybe, but this will be going for a tenth of a second. So, like, if you can tap the U button that fast, then more power to you. Yeah. And I see the mistake I made right there. Every tenth of a second. It's gonna kick off because it's looping. Blah blah blah. Mm, 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 mm. Not strong enough. Very floaty. And I can see the reason. It's cool looking at what you did. But basically, like I said, positive Z makes it go up, negative Z makes it go down, and it is positive. So it's just adding more of an impulse at every tenth of a second. Compile that, save. Yeah. And might not be enough. Yeah, this is probably way too high. I use extreme values to test things out. So yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that was that problem. Yeah, it was still, I'm still positive. Yeah. Yeah. It's got a nice drop to it. You got to fight against it. Yeah. So that's gonna be way too high. But at that point, the logic makes sense. See how I can't even get it up, and it falls off the and it falls off the map. Yeah. So that's just playing with values. You just find that what feels right to you. So it's not really logic or anything. That's just basically game testing. Um, yeah, but it is struggling. It can't fight that downward impulse. Yeah, yeah. So that's just me playing with numbers. That's just playing with numbers. Yeah, lower that a little bit so the rock is not flying into space. Let's skip ahead. I guess I'll leave the original up, and this will just be the dub version. But yeah, that's just impulses on a physics boulder. It's not moving the whole actor, which would be all of this. It's just moving that component. Yeah, that. And ta-da. I think that's about all we did in this video. Oh yeah. So so the boulder doesn't fall off the map. We just put some blocking volumes. They basically don't allow anything to, they block stuff. I thought it could be hidden invisible in the game, but apparently it can't. Don't know why I don't get to choose, but whatevs. Can't even change the thickness. Anyways, we're just taking these blocking volumes and putting them on the sides so that the boulder can't get through. It has to stay on the track. And ta-da. And a very big point. That's a collision issue. Those blocking volumes are blocking the boulder, and the boulder is not a separate entity from the player character. So it's blocking the boulder, which is messing with the character, which is also messing with the camera. Once we move these out a tad, maybe a tad more. Yeah, yeah. You drop back out. Yeah. And this is a collision issue. Do a collision test on the spring arm? No. It all depends on what you're trying to get out of it, but if the spring arm has that collision test on it and it's colliding, it'll mess with the camera because the camera's attached to the spring arm. So there we go. Rock goes up and down. It cannot fall off the map. It really can't turn like I. Oh, it can a little bit. But you see how it stopped? It's stuck between those blocking volumes. Uh, yeah, it's looking good. I don't know. He looks pretty cool back there. You know, idling. Look like he finna throw them dukes. Let's see what we got here. What was I doing? Yeah, okay. I guess we're right now we're testing see how it responds to the player. And a lot went into it, but basically all I need to do now is I need to make it so that the characters, the pawns are only destroyed if the rock is falling down on them. Because currently at this time, which you'll see in like videos that are coming out later this week, that if they collide with the rock at all, even if the rock is just sitting still, they die. Which I don't know. Maybe if I made like a spike ball, that would make sense. But I really want to learn how to do the logic. It's basically a comparison of the downward velocity, but it's just it's not the most solid. Well, really, I just need time to really think it through and come up with a surefire way to make it look good. But here's our boulder collision. We're gonna get our other actor equal. I think I struggle with this for a little bit because for some reason I'm always forgetting gameplay tags, but they're just so much easier than um, a lot of other ways to get the other actor. I mean, you, I try my best not to cast. You don't really have to though with the gameplay tags. So simple test. Gonna drop the rock on you, and it should destroy the other actor. Yeah, it's just me moving the collision up, and look how huge it is. Okay, that's why. Nope, nope. Look at the scale. It's 200. There you go. Now our collision is somewhat wrapped. It's not perfectly wrapped, but whatevs. Uh, we got our collision sphere around our boulder. Any actor that touches it will be destroyed. I think I need to start writing scripts for this. I don't know. But either way, here we go. Yeah, lifting it up. Yeah, okay. All right. And hit it. And what is going on? I believe it has something to do with those blocking spheres or let's see, I'm not really sure. And I was rushing through this thing. Mm. Now, this is just for testing purposes. We don't cast to the. I don't think this works either. It does. Okay. So yeah, that was the problem. It was unchecked and it was hitting other actors. So it works when it collides with the villager. But we try to avoid casting. There's a lot of better ways to do this. Now, I'm gonna go through this part because it's very, very important. When you get the actor of class, you have to remember if you're gonna have one actor of that class, because if you're gonna have more, you're gonna need all actors of class, and you have to do for each loop. Otherwise, it's only gonna do one actor at a time, and it might not be the one you want. So there's a better way to do this, of course, but I just wanted to show the problems that come with doing it this way. It's good if you like, you're getting your player character because it's only one of you. That was my first attempt at avoid casting, and it works. There's a lot of way to do any one thing. That's just to keep everything clean. Squished actor, not the best name, but that was just to clean it up. So I just can't take all these notes and stuff all over the place and wires. So I'll bring this over here. And that's it. In the next one, which comes out in a day or so, you will see how we get past this actors class, all actors class, what comes with it, and also the best way to do it, in my opinion. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.